And now, the best 60-ish seconds of your week.
It's Saturday morning, August the 1st. Summer is winding down. The cicadas are starting to sing. Fall cannot be far away. Football season looms, and the best 60 seconds of your week is upon us. So please, as we ask every week, take a minute to like, share, subscribe, comment, help us build our audience. If you know folks that ought to be on here, share it with them. We'd like to have even more folks being privileged to witness the best 60 seconds of the week. And in the city that never sleeps, loony Mayor Mamdani is up to his tricks again with even more nuttiness than he usually exhibits. This week, he rolled out his grocery store plan. It's only going to cost roughly $70 million of the taxpayers' money, and it allegedly is going to save shoppers a little bit every year. That remains to be seen. But as Margaret Thatcher once so correctly observed, the problem with socialism is sooner or later you run out of other people's money to spend. That's all Mamdani knows how to do, is spend other people's money on some of the wackiest proposals you can possibly imagine. This is what the far left of the Democrat Party, the quote-unquote Democrat socialists, I'm not even sure they're Democrats anymore, just plain socialists, have wrought. And in another move, Mayor Mamdani says he's going to potentially move to arrest Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu if he sets foot on New York soil. Now, of course, he can't do that. He has absolutely no jurisdiction whatsoever. And additionally, if Mamdani bothered to read even one iota, he would know that diplomats have immunity from prosecution while they're here on diplomatic missions. But that doesn't slow him down. He relies on the International Criminal Court, the ICC. Now, let me just say this. Whenever you get into these alphabet soup jurisdictions, you know you're in real trouble. The Southern Poverty Law Center, SPLC. Nothing to do with the South, nothing to do with poverty, and certainly nothing to do with the law. A left-wing liberal group through and through that simply claims anybody that disagrees with them is racist. And another alphabet soup thing, the ABA, the American Bar Association. This week, their president was before Congress testifying, and Congressman Gill just absolutely grilled her, asking her things as simple as, does the ABA truly believe that race ought to be a factor in determining who gets into law school? She couldn't answer that. She simply relied on, well, the Supreme Court said, well, what do you say? Here's your own missive that sets forth your position allegedly or ostensibly. What do you think? But she gave all these gobbledygook answers that we've come to expect from the left at congressional hearings. Thank goodness for Josh Hawley and John Kennedy and Congressman Gill and Congressman Jordan, who go after these folks like you would in a deposition, not allowing them to simply obfuscate and filibuster, making speeches rather than answering questions and completely avoiding the subjects at hand. I left the ABA many years ago. I left over their announced position in favor of abortion on demand. That was violative of everything I thought to be right. So I left the ABA. A lot of others have done so too. Today, they tell me that roughly 1 in 5 lawyers is actually a part of no, it's 1 in 7. Forgive me, 1 in 7 lawyers is part of the ABA. And that seems to me to be a high number given their history of left-wing activism in the name of the bar. So enough for the ABA. We turn now to somebody that has really raised some hackles and this week laid bare what he's really all about. And that is Dr. Anthony Fauci. You know, he was preemptively pardoned by Joe Biden. You've got to ask yourself what that was all about and why he needed a preemptive pardon. But this week, Fauci goes in front of the United States Senate hearing and invokes the Fifth Amendment, his protection against self-incrimination. Now, we understand that everybody has that constitutional right, and it doesn't necessarily mean you're guilty, but think about it. We know what the deal is with Anthony Fauci. He does not want to tell the truth to the American people. He does not want any measure of accountability. And even though he has this preemptive pardon from Joe Biden, it's pretty clear that it would not cover any perjury that he committed testifying before the U.S. Senate. And to me anyway, it appears that he may not have always told the truth. heretofore. So stay tuned. I don't think we're done with Fauci yet, and hopefully he will be called to account. He should have been a long time ago. And soon we'll have the second edition of the summer reading list. I know all of you are looking forward to that with bated breath as you head for the mountains or the shore and as summer winds down, but we'll make sure we get it to you because for now, that is the best 60-ish seconds of your week.
Mr. Jack from Georgia.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate you convening this task force today. And I myself, as well as many of my constituents who are watching, reached out to let me know how impressed they were with your line of questioning. So with that having been said, I'd like to yield the remainder of my time to our distinguished chairman, Mr. Gill.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Ms. Behnke, let's pick up where we left off before. The mission statement on the ABA's website states that our legal profession is enhanced when judges resemble the cultural groups that make up American society. How many Supreme Court justices have we had in American history?
I could not tell you over the...
It's about 116. Do you know of those 116, how many of them have been transgender?
I have no idea.
Do you think there might have been one?
I have no idea.
Is it fair to say that there have been no transgender Supreme Court justices in American history?
I honestly have no idea.
You don't know?
I have no idea.
You study the law, don't you?
We do not study the personal attributes of individual justices.
Is there a Supreme Court justice in American history that you think might have been transgender?
I have no idea.
You have no idea? Well, I think most people can assume that there haven't been any transgender Supreme Court justices. I hope that we can agree at least on that basis. Would that be okay to proceed under that assumption? Okay. I appreciate that. So transgenders haven't been represented on the Supreme Court. Do you think that it's important that the next Supreme Court justice be transgender?
The ABA does not subscribe to any particular quotas.
I'm not asking about a quota. I'm asking about representation, diversity, equity, and inclusion.
The ABA supports diversity in all of its forms. And
have transgenders been included on the U.S. Supreme Court?
The ABA supports the full spectrum of diversity.
Do you think that it's a problem that the transgender community has never had representation on the U.S. Supreme Court?
The ABA believes in diversity, equity, and inclusion as...
And I'm asking you about diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm asking you about inclusion of the transgender community.
We believe that people ought to bring their entire self to whatever role they're serving.
You're refusing to answer my question. Do you think that it's important that we have a transgender Supreme Court justice?
I believe that it's
in order to include that community.
I believe that it is always important, the ABA believes that it is always important to support and encourage diversity.
So we should have a
inclusion.
transgender Supreme Court justice?
Diversity has many forms, and we believe that...
Do you think that you're not answering in a straightforward way? Do you think that's because of your own implicit bias?
I believe that I'm trying to explain that the ABA does not set quotas and does not believe that...
Do you have implicit transphobia?
The ABA believes that diversity in all of its forms is important and helps the profession more globally.
Okay, we're going to move on. Should Americans be judged by the color of their skin or the content of their character?
Discrimination is never appropriate, sir.
So do you agree that Americans should be judged by the content of their character and not by the color of their skin?
Yes, I would agree.
You agree with that? Should a law school consider an applicant's race when making admissions decisions?
The Supreme Court has indicated that...
I'm asking you if they should. It's a normative question.
Discrimination is never appropriate, and...
So is it your testimony that law schools should not consider applicants' race when making admissions decisions?
The Supreme Court has said that you may not take race into account.
So you don't believe that race should have any role, yes or no, in a law school's admissions decisions? Is that the position of the ABA?
The ABA is not responsible for admissions.
I didn't say it was. I'm asking you if you believe, and if it's the position of the ABA, that race should not be a factor at all in a law school's admissions decisions?
The ABA takes compliance with the law seriously.
I didn't ask you that. I asked, it's a really simple question. I'm asking you, let me just ask you in your own personal capacity, should race be a factor in law school admissions decisions? The question is a yes or no question.
I am here in my
yes
capacity.
Or no, should race be a factor in law school admissions decisions?
I am here in my capacity.
Because according to the ABA, it should. The ABA has said explicitly that they have a long history of supporting consideration of race in law school admissions. Is that your testimony, that law schools should continue taking into account race?
The Supreme Court indicated that diversity is a laudable goal, and the ABA supports diversity in all of its forms.
This is embarrassing for you. You ought to be able to answer this in a very straightforward way. And with that, the time is up.
Sir, I have 3 UCs requests.
Go for it.
Thank you. I ask unanimous consent to enter into the record a July 2026 article from Kerner News, North Texas families and the summer food programs they rely on.
Without objection.
Are feeling the sting of inflation.
Without objection. All right, and we're going to skip closing because we've got votes now. So in closing,